Hello, welcome to Filmy Ladies. Today is a superstar, but not part of our superstar series because we don't have the ability to go back in time and readjust our superstars series. But if we did, we would be putting this person many, many episodes ago. Because for the second time only, we have someone who's primarily not a Hindi film star. It's Madhabi Mukherjee,
Yay!
who is a Bengali superstar. She joins, of course, Suchitra Sen in our list of primarily not Hindi stars. I'm not sure Madhabi Mukherjee ever did a Hindi film, actually. But to me, this is a person that I don't hear talked about enough when we're doing like India's top five actresses of all time or whatever. She should be on that list, in my opinion. Granted, my experience is mostly Hindi and Bengali, but still, I'm putting her forward for the list. I love her.
I do too.
I have not seen a ton of her films, but the ones I have seen contain some epic highs and a few lows. We'll get into it. Pitu, what did you watch for Madhabi Mukherjee?
So my only exposure to Madhavi Mukherjee so far had been, of course, the very great Charulata and the also very great Mahanagar. And I've seen both of those films multiple times. And
Mm.
honestly, even if those were the only
Uh-huh.
two movies anyone had ever seen of Madhavi Mukherjee, that's still awesome.
What else do you need?
Right. What else do you need? Just rewatch Charlotte and Mahanagar
Hmm.
like a crazy person over and over. You're
Hmm.
fine. But I wanted to watch more of hers just because she's so fantastic and just like what a goddess, right? And I was
Hmm.
like, I need to see more. So I saw two more movies of hers. I first watched Biraj Bou. I
Okay.
have one word for you, Sarat Chandra.
Oh no.
I did not realize. Okay, so the reason I watched Biraj Bhagu was because I do like what little I've seen of Uttam Kumar. I don't love him the way I love Soumitra. Soumitra, I love.
Mm.
Apu belongs to my heart. Apu is me. Me is Apu. I love Apu.
He will
Right.
make you
So
cry more.
I love him. I see
Yeah,
him and my heart flutters.
I know.
And so
I
I was
know.
like, it's not Soumitra, but we'll see. We'll give Uttam Kumar a chance. And so I watched Biraj Bhagu only because it was Madhvi Mukherjee and Uttam Kumar. And within seconds of the name credits on my screen, I
Oh
realized it
no.
is an adaptation of Sarat Chandra's story. And I was like, oh dear, Pitu, it is still time. You can still X out of this and go watch something else. And I didn't. Oh, I should have.
Oh
But
no.
it was kind of terrible. But then I said, okay, now we will make a strategic, sensible, rational, emotional, logical, good decision. And so I said, after Sarat Chandra, I need the antidote, which is Satyajit Ray. So he has not let me down with Charulata. He has not let me down with Mahanagar. He has not let me down with any of his movies I've seen because I've not seen his last film, which you told me is terrible. So he has never let me down, right? So I was
Mm.
like, let's go watch Kapurush. And also
Oh,
Kapurush has Soumitra, whom I
yes, it
love.
sure does.
And I am definitely not disappointed. It was
No,
great. And I've
it's great.
already tried to forget Biraj Bhagu.
So you did watch all of Biraj Bou, though.
I did, but there was a
Okay,
lot of gnashing of teeth.
I see. I
Yes.
see.
There were many, many feelings,
I
which I will
see.
discuss in detail.
I considered that film as well, and then there was something I saw, and I was like,
Did you see Sarat Chandra by chance or no?
no, I didn't. But I think what I noticed that there's a 50s version by Bimal Roy in
Yeah.
Hindi, and then this is a 70s
Yeah.
version, and I was like,
This is
uh,
72, I believe, and it's black and white.
yeah, black and white continued in Calcutta-based films a lot longer. I don't remember why. I've read about this, and I don't remember why. Um, I think that I assumed that the role Uttam Kumar was playing was the hero, and that if
Yes.
it, I just assumed he would be too old, and that's not fair because a hero could be,
Yeah.
in his 40s but I
He's
just
not too old in this, though.
okay, good.
Yeah.
There was just something, and I have seen some of his 70s films. They are less good. Uh, that includes one of the ones that I watched. I watched three films for
Okay.
this. I did
Okay.
rewatch Charulata
Of
because
course.
try and stop me.
Right.
Can't, no one
I
can.
wanted to, but I was stopped by the flu,
Oh, that's
a
a
very
good
powerful
reason. That's a
entity. Yeah,
good
I
reason.
was off my feet for 2 weeks and very miserable.
And as good as the film is, it does not cure the flu. So I rewatched that, and then I rewatched, or I watched for the first time, apologies for my pronunciation, Garh Nasimpur, which does have Uttam Kumar in it, but it primarily stars with Madhabi Biswajit, and we'll get into it.
You sent
And
me a screenshot from this
I
film.
did, I did. And then I watched for the first time the one film for which she won a national award.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, by the way, the national awards didn't exist yet in 1964 when Charulata came out.
Oh.
I still don't think that's any excuse. You could have made them up for that film. And like they gave Uttam Kumar one for Chirya Khan, but really it's for Nayak. So like, come on, back form these amazing Bengali 60s stars national awards. Anyway, so I watched this movie called Dibratrirkabya,
Mhm.
um, which to my understanding based on the subtitles is basically a very expanded version of Kapurush in a way. So
Oh,
I almost rewatched Kapurush, but I decided no, because then I thought you would maybe mentioned you would watch it. So like, okay,
yeah.
so we have two kind of similar films, at
But
least as
is
far as I was
Dibratrirkabya
concerned.
also by Satyajit Ray or no?
Oh no.
Okay, so it's the
No,
same
no,
base
no.
story, but
It
it's
seems
not by the same
similar to
person.
me. Yeah.
Okay,
And why she won an award for this movie, I just have no idea. But I think it's also possible I didn't understand this movie at all. We can get
okay.
into it. I think we should save Ray to the end because they're
Yes.
better. So let's start with your dire selection. Um, I want to know sort of what this film is about, and then I also want to know how is she, of course, but then also I want to
Yes.
know, assuming that she and Uttam Kumar
They are
interact,
paired.
okay, I'd love to know more about that vibe
Yes.
because I
I
remember
will give you all the deets.
I remember reading an interview once with Sumitra Chatterjee, or maybe it was one of the like interviews with him on the Charulata like Criterion DVD, which I do own,
Mm-mm.
um, where he says something like, "She's my heroine," and he gets this like little twinkle, like she's,
Okay.
she and I are the pair, and
Yeah,
I do not disagree.
right.
So, uh, anyway, tell us about this terrible thing by the
I will
source
tell
of
you,
Devdas.
it has two things that both you and I absolutely love slash hate. It is your favorite word
Is
in
that
Hindi, is that? And it is also my favorite word in Hindi, which is tyag.
Jag? What are they in Bengali? Do we get them? Could you translate?
Well, they didn't use those exact words, but that
Okay.
is basically so. The gist of this movie is that life sucks and we all suck, and women should just be long suffering women and they should just be saints and martyrs because Sarachandra. And men get to
Mm.
be man children. So even if they're 30, they get to act like a 10-year-old because Sarachandra. So this is very much the writer of Dedas. I don't know what it is, but his male characters are just lotus eaters and they're just like addicted to bhang. I mean, in this movie he's addicted to bhang, not alcohol. And they're just like good for nothings, honestly, and the women in their life just have to like do all the things and like prop them up, and it's just, yeah, it's very dire. So Biraj Bou, her name is Biraj, which is Madhabi Mukherjee. And so it's set in like the countryside or whatever. And she and Uttam Kumar are married to each other. Uttam Kumar is not charming in this movie, and he's actually very slappable. That is not his fault. That is the fault of the story, and that is the fault of his god awful character. He's very much Devdas's long lost cousin. So anyway, they are married to each other, and his name is Nilambar. And here's the funny bit: his older brother, they live in a joint family. His older brother's name in the movie is Pitambar, and so guess what his pet name is? Pitu. And obviously I had to watch this movie subtitles because I don't understand Bengali.
Oh
So it's
no.
constantly like, and he's a bad person. So every single time Pitu is mentioned on the subtitles, like, Pitu, do you have no heart? Pitu, you do not care about poor people. Pitu, but don't you care about your fellow man? And I was like, wow, I am
I
very much a villain in this
I'm going
movie.
to watch this and make a bunch of GIFs with those subtitles in them to deploy at you.
I actually took a few screenshots to share
Good,
with you. It's
good.
terrible. It's like, Pitu will not listen. And it's like, Pitu, will you not care? And I'm like, why am I being villainized in this film? Anyway, so Pitambar, aka Pitu, is the older brother, and he's awful. And his wife Mohini is actually nice. Like, she's like also a long suffering person because her husband is stupid or whatever. So Uttam Kumar's character in this movie does absolutely nothing except just daydream all day. He doesn't have a job because money is not important. He says this: money is not important. I was like, how do you think you're getting fed? He likes to attend people's cremations. I don't know why. to provide moral support. It's not like he's a priest who's doing like funerary rites or anything. He just likes to like hang out. And he also likes to partake in bhang. And he's also very good at drumming at Durga Puja, but the man has no job. He's also kind of like a do-gooder. Like, there's some nice scenes where he's very sweet. Like, there's this like lower caste person who says, well, they won't eat food we make because we're lower caste. And he's like, well, I'll eat it. So, he's a decent person, but he's completely useless. He does nothing. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to him, Madhabi Mukherjee has been carrying the household by making clay dolls that she sells in the marketplace. He doesn't know about this because Izzat. So what she does is at night, she collects clay from like the riverbanks and stuff, and she makes these clay dolls and she has their servant sell them in the marketplace. That's how she earns money. He's absolutely no clue how his household is being run. They don't have children, by the way. Neither does Pitu and Pitu's wife. Pitu
Sounds
only,
like that's for the best.
yes, thank God. And Pitu is very bad, as we have discovered. Pitu is very greedy, and Pitu only loves money. And Pitu is all about like, shenanigans. He's not like evil, but he's just bad. And then I was like, wait, am I bad? Because I don't actually see the Pitu character as bad. I see him as practical. I was like, he actually wants to earn money for his wife and his family. Like, since when did that become a bad thing? Like, okay,
Mm.
I have a job. I guess I'm bad. It's so weird. And the brothers don't get along. Also, Sarachat Chandra has a thing for walls because you know how
Mm.
Parinita has the wall in it. And also in this movie, when the brothers just don't get along because Pitu's so terrible, as we know, Pitu builds a wall between their house, like,
Mm.
because blah blah. And this movie is so bad. And then this rich zamindar person comes into the village, and we know he's bad because he has a pencil mustache,
Ah,
which
yes.
is visual code for you rapist.
Hmm.
And he is a terrible person. And of course, he's besotted with Madhavi Mukherjee because how can he not be? I mean, I am besotted with Madhavi
Hmm.
Mukherjee, but
Hmm.
I don't have a pencil mustache and I'm also not evil. And so he likes to hang out at like the riverbanks because he knows that's where she'll come to like fill water and stuff. So he can like, you know.
Mm.
And then the movie takes a little bit of like a Ramayan-esque turn where there's gossip and chitter chatter in the village. And then there's talk of how this rich zamindar has like a lot of mistresses and he's like very like horrible and he's like such a Casanova, and people are like, how does Biraj and her husband Nilambar even make any money? Because they're like, they don't have money, he doesn't have a job, and yet they're always like well fed. And so people start gossiping that Biraj is actually the zamindar's like she's sleeping with him or something. And then Uttam Kumar's character believes her. They have this horrible fight. He throws a thing at her face. I wanted to throttle him in that moment. Like, there's blood over here on her forehead. And I was like, you lout. And then she's so offended. And he tells her to get out of her house, out of the house. And she's offended. So she leaves. And then she spends 10 minutes of the movie being really sad and wandering in Puri, in Orissa, because someone has told her about Lord Jagannath is the weirdest thing. Also, she's losing her eyesight because reasons. I don't know why. Something happened to her optic nerve. And then also, Uttam Kumar is really sad. This movie is terrible, Beth. Even Madhabi Mukherjee could not save it. And then she's like very poor. And the like towards the end, she actually comes back to the village because one of the people in Puri, in the Jagannath Yatra area, tells her that, but your life is at the feet of your husband. And she's like, oh my God, you're right. And so she comes, and I kid you not, because her legs have failed her. I don't know why her legs have failed her. She's like dragging herself across the ground. Literally, I was like, Madhavi, yo, Behen, what happened to your legs now? I know your eyes are having a problem, and I know you haven't eaten in 3 days, and your lips are chapped, and you need chapstick. But like, why are you dragging yourself? She's dragging herself across the ground, and then Uttam Kumar is all like in a state, and probably because of too much bhang or whatever. And then she meets him, and then they embrace because and then she dies. And I was like, somebody give me bhang because I need a break from this movie. So I was so annoyed that after watching this movie, I swore off Sarah Chandra. I never want to watch anything written by this man again. And then I took my dog for a long walk, and I went to the library and I did a bunch of chores, and then I felt better. And then I came home and I said, Pitu, we realize you are an evil, money grubbing, hungry person. let us now make a good decision for once in our life. And that is
Mm,
how I chose Kapurush. And then I was happy.
very good. Very good.
No one went blind in Kapurush. Nobody dragged themselves across the ground. Nobody talked about Tyagas Izzat. Nobody accused their wife of infidelity. There was no pencil mustache person. Kapurush was much better. So,
Mm. I think that next I should tell you about the bad,
hmm,
the maybe the two not great films I watched, and then you can do
please do.
Caparouche. No, wait.
Yes.
And no, I'll do one, and then you do Caparouche, and then I'll do this other one that was kind of like Caparouche, and then we'll end with Charulata. How's
Excellent.
that?
Yes.
Um,
It's an emotional roller coaster
it
today.
is, but we'll end on a high. So
Yes.
I will try to keep this quick because I don't really see a particular point in talking about this movie a whole lot. So this is no,
Dibratrirkabya?
Garh Nasimpur.
Oh.
This is one of those historical films that starts with narrators talking to you about all the different people under Aurangzeb and everybody who are like
Hmm.
fighting for control of this and that and the other. And I right away I thought, does this matter? And then I decided I'm just going to go with it. I can always rewind and take screen grabs and study these at length if I want to. Lo and behold, it did not matter, I don't think. So we are in 1750 something or other. Um, and there are people fighting for control of things, including this place called uh,
It's a
Nasimpur.
village
Uh,
or kingdom?
Fort
Okay.
with village? Dunno.
Okay.
Dunno.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Place.
And there is a guy who's in charge of it. And as far as I can tell, Madhabi is his daughter. And she is a princess in the style of Vijantimala.
Ooh.
And this is bad casting.
Why? I
Well,
want to see her as a princess.
she's got the bouffant that's as big as her head.
Ah.
She's got all the jewels. She's wearing black and white, but very metallic saris and stuff. And this is just not her thing. And she's a snooty rich girl. We've talked about rich girl,
Paise wali.
rich. Yeah, she's a pesewali, and she's an only child. I think so. I'm not sure. She seems to be. And there's a guy who wants control of this palace, and he's in love with her. She's not interested in him. She is out for she's going somewhere in her palanquin, and some bad people come up and try to see her, so she like leaps out the side and she goes into the river, and then she's saved from drowning by a pirate on a boat. And boy, the pirate is Biswajit. And he has kind of a pencil mustache, so he's not bad, but he is a pirate type.
Hmm.
He's like a Robin
He,
Hood pirate.
he's rakish.
He's rakish. And it's 1750 something, but he still has the pompadour. It's insane. His hair in this is insane. And there's a scene later where he's been in the water and he gets out and he still has
It's waterproof.
it's waterproof. And this is the point at which I stopped trying to follow this movie really. But basically it's, Yolden days, people are fighting. There's a sword, there's some swashbuckling. Um, there's some palace intrigue. Someone needs to send their ring with a messenger to get it to blah, 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 blah. Uttam Kumar plays one of the other people trying to get control of parts of
Okay.
what or not. I can't remember if these are all real people or not real people at all or whatever. They're certainly referencing real people, Shah Jahan and things like that, but they are
Okay.
not uh again, it doesn't matter, I don't think. My apologies to the screenwriter of this if it does really matter, and I missed a lot by not paying attention to the actual historical context. But so you get to see Madhabi with Biswajit in some romantic songs and things like this. This might be the kind of vintage Bengali film I have seen with the most songs that function the way songs do in a Hindi film, tend to
Uh-huh.
function in a Hindi film. So that was kind of interesting. And Biswajit, while he is not an actor, I do think he's pretty good in songs, and he's
Yeah.
handsome. And he was wearing
Mhm.
this like sort of cheetah print, it's something that like Dharmendra would wear in Dharamveer, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But it's
Did he have
Biswajit,
like a short skirt?
basically, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and he does some, swashbuckling later and stuff like that. So it's kind of entertaining, but also it's way too long. So
Hmm.
I could have just condensed this all to the songs and a little bit of fighting, I think. Um, Uttam Kumar does come in, as I mentioned, and he's like more powerful and he accidentally helps scheme and stuff like that. I think they got him for one day. I think they only film him in one location or maybe two. Uh, so he was just I'm not gonna say he was phoning it in, but there's not much for him to do, and he
Mm,
doesn't do much.
mm,
Uh, and maybe that's just like, I have this much energy for this. This
right.
is what it demands. I'm an expert. This is what I will do. I love Uttam Kumar, and this is not a good film for him either. So you don't need to watch this film. The one thing I want to say about it really though is that one of the palace intrigue related people, and also like I was the daughter of this person and my brother was this and da 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 da, is now I don't know if you know this actress, Ruma Guhathakurta.
I
Do you know
have seen
her?
her in something. I'm trying to remember what, but I know her.
I find her bewitching and lovely and amazing. And she is people may know her as Kishore Kumar's first of four
Oh,
wives.
right. Yes.
And she is related to Ray's wife's family, if I recall correctly,
Okay.
which is just she's in my massive Bengali filmy family tree chart, for example. I love her. She doesn't have a very big role, but I was like, oh, that's her under a veil with her like amazing. The cat eye liner in this movie is amazing. So if you can picture
Okay.
Sharmila, like they've really got Madhabi styled like she's Sharmila Tagore, which is
Mm,
just it's not right. It's not
yeah.
right. And it's not that I think Madhabi is necessarily more like earthy and stuff. And it's not that I can't imagine her doing historical films because Charulata is not set in contemporary
Yeah.
times. But this just isn't
Yeah.
it. The end.
I feel like Madhavi has a certain gravitas to her
Yeah.
that it's hard for me to imagine her doing the things that you're saying she's doing in your movie.
And maybe this was fun. Maybe this was a fun change of pace for her. Like I said, I haven't seen all of her films, so maybe this is totally different. It seems very masala-y.
Yeah.
And maybe she wanted to try that, or maybe she had a rent check due.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm
But
sure she had no fun making Biraj Bou because in Biraj Bou, all
right.
she does is cry. And all Uttam Kumar does in this movie is just be stoned all the time. So this is not, Biraj Bou is not a good look for either of these two people either.
Oh, and she doesn't even get to, I don't think she ever even interacts with him in this movie. So that was kind of disappointing.
Because he was just there for a day.
Right. Right. And
Okay.
she doesn't really get to leave the palacey area very much because
Okay.
girl, I guess. I
Right.
don't know. It doesn't matter.
Interesting. And then what other movie did you watch? Oh, the one she got an award for.
Right, which I think is kind of like Kapurush. So let's talk about Kapurush a
Hmm.
little bit. This is,
I
one
loved
of, it's
Kapurush.
a short film by Ray. It's paired with Mahapurush, which is a comedy, and does star Ruma Guhathakurta in it,
Ah,
actually. So, but this one is a shorter romance slash tragedy, sort of with
it's
Madhabi
so
and
good.
Sumitra and one other person, basically. It's a very small cast.
It's like it's a character study, really.
Hmm.
There's like three people and maybe one
Hmm.
servant that you see a
Oh,
few
that's
times
right.
serving tea
Yeah.
and things like that. It's so good. It's so succinct. Like it's a short movie. It's like 1 hour and 9 minutes, maybe. I saw
Yeah.
it on YouTube and it was like a really, really good print with
Yeah.
English subtitles. And I can put the link in the. I mean, I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
Biraj Bou also on YouTube with subtitles, but the movie was just terrible.
We won't
Um,
put the link for that because no one
let's
should see it.
not. No.
Walk us through the plot of this one.
Oh, it's so good. So we start on a dark, rainy night, and a very handsome. I just think Soumitra is so gorgeous.
He's beautiful. Yeah.
He's so pretty. I
Yeah,
love
he
his
really
smile.
is.
I love everything about this man. His hair, his
Mm-hmm.
eyes. He's just
Mm-hmm.
darling.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he in his like trousers and his shirt and his suit, like his
Can I can I
bag.
can I just say I read a bit of an interview with him just yesterday where he said growing up he was very insecure that he didn't think he was good looking enough because apparently everyone in his family is super good looking and I was like, "Sir,
Are you blind? What?
what?"
this is like this is like the Simi Grawal interview with Hrithik Roshan was like, I actually don't think I'm a good dancer. I was like, are you insane? Like you're a good dancer and you're insane. Good, got it. Anyway, so he walks into this like gas station because he this taxi that he was taking to this town has broken down and he's very annoyed because now he has to stay the night in this strange area in the middle of nowhere because it's raining and the part that they require to fix it will have to come from Siliguri. He's on his way from Calcutta to some town. And they he's basically like, what am I going to do? And there's this man, this very garrulous, loud, kind of like nouveau riche man who's over there, kind of like overbearing personality, which Sumitra is never overbearing. Sumitra is just this darling, lovely man. And he shares a smoke with him. And then this man says, why are you going to that town? Are you in the tea business? And he's like, no, I'm visiting my brother-in-law who happens to be a doctor and he lives there. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I mean, you're stuck here. Do you want to come stay at my bungalow for the night? Because, what are you going to do here? And he's like, yeah, okay, sure. So he goes with this very jolly, very loud man in his Jeep to this bungalow. And lo and behold, who is at the bungalow? This very beautiful woman in a silk sari with, I mean, Madhabi Mukherjee is so beautiful. The first time we see her, her back is turned to us, and I was like, I know who that is. And she's
Mm.
wearing this beautiful silk sari, and her hair is beautifully done, and she has a flower in her hand. She just looks so pretty. And then she turns around and glares at him, and I'm like, oh. And then he looks at her and he's like, oh. And I was like, these people have met before.
We have a backstory alert.
We have a backstory. There is some gossip here.
Yeah.
It's like dinner and a show. We're getting some gossip here. And looks have been exchanged across the room. And
when those two look at each other,
I know, right? It's like game over. It's
game
like
over.
it's like it's bad for us to be watching them, but also we can't be looking away. But it's like just the and then there's this like stiffness and iciness that she brings. I'm like, ooh, she mad. And I'm like, but why is she mad? Why is she upset about this extremely handsome, rain-soaked stranger coming to her house? Like, I wouldn't be mad. But so they show him to a guest room, and she's like, would you like some hot water for your bath and everything? And he's like, sure. And he looks very perturbed. Now, let me tell you, I love Samitra, but I really love him when he's perturbed, because nobody does perturbed like he does. I love it when he's like a little bit off center, because then he starts hesitating, and it's just very enjoyable for me to watch, because I'm a that person.
Quiet emotional upset is his, and brooding, like those are his forte. And I don't know how he does it, because those are not easy things to depict, I don't think. But he is
like, there's
really
like
good
this
at them.
quiet rising panic in him. When there's a quiet rising panic in Samitra, I find it very enjoyable. He never quite, well, no, I was going to say he never quite crosses the territory into emo, but he does, though. Not in this movie.
No,
I mean,
but he does
a little bit, but he does. But I love it also when his cup runneth over and he goes full on into emo territory. But I also enjoy it when he's on that edge of like, he gonna lose it. And so anyway, he's very perturbed. And she is very ice queen. Like, I don't know you. I don't care about you. And I was like, this boy has hurt this woman, and I need to know how that happened. And we get a flashback. Yay. So we get a flashback. We see a very impoverished looking Samitra wearing like a banyan and like a towel. And he's in this, what looks like a garret. It's just his student housing. And Madhabi Mukherjee comes over there, and there's this amazingly shot scene where you basically figure out that they're lovers. And she's telling him about how her uncle and aunt who raised her, like she lives with them, her uncle has asked for a transfer to Patna. And so they will be leaving Calcutta because they'll be moving to Patna. And he's very perturbed by this, because what does that mean for the relationship? And it's like a little bit of a cat and mouse game. You can tell that she's trying to evoke a reaction from him, and she wants him to basically propose to her and say, let's get married, because that's the only way they can live together. And he won't do it. And it's very frustrating, because as the viewer, you are very much on Madhabi's side, and you can see that she's being restrained, but she also has her pride. She doesn't want to beg him for marriage, but she's laying it out very clearly for him. Like, I am going to leave this city, and you may never see me again, and we are lovers, so what you going to do about it? And she needs him to rise to the occasion without spoon feeding him that info, and he still won't. And it's very frustrating to watch. And even though I love Samitra, I was like, yo, you gotta man up. And he won't. And it's really frustrating. And then she is really trying. And then eventually she kind of like gives up, and she basically spells it out. And then he's like, what, you want us to get married? But how would we live? I've been to your house. I think the assumption is that she's rich. We never actually see her house, so I have no idea. But he's like, I've seen how you live. I've seen your house. How can we live together? And she's like, well, you can get a job. I can get a job. We can work. We can live in the city. He's like, this is a very harsh city. And I'm like, wow, you're a coward. And that is where the title of this movie comes in. So Kapurush literally means the coward. And he just does not rise to the occasion. Mm-hmm. He's just such a wimp about it. Mm-hmm. And then poor Madhabi sits on the chair, and then she starts like crying. And because it's Madhabi, she's not going to like sob inconsolably and make a big deal out of it. But the poor thing is like just tears streaming down her gorgeous face. And I was like, you jerk. I mean, Samitra being the jerk, not her. And he just doesn't rise to the occasion. And then boom, we're back in the present again. And he's stuck in their guest room. And oh my God, this couple is not well matched. like Madhabi Mukherjee and this like loud, jolly, garrulous husband she's married to. He's kind of like, you know how in recent episodes we've talked about how Shashi Kapoor sometimes phones it in and he does the whole like wee
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
It's
Muppet.
that guy. Yeah, it's that guy
Yeah.
minus the handsomeness and the charm. So he's even more annoying, but it's this person that is just like so ill matched for her. She doesn't seem particularly happy, but it also seems like this was a marriage of convenience that was made because he's clearly loaded. Like their house is like money, money, right? And it's just one night she gives him sleeping pills because he's having trouble sleeping. She's very icy towards him. He's trying to have a conversation with her. At one point, he basically like forces her to have a conversation with her, and she's just kind of like, I'm just not going to engage with you, dude. And um and then I felt really bad for him, but like I also understand why. It's a very tense movie to watch because like I care about both of those actors in real life and I also care about those characters, and it's like a hard situation. And I had a lot of sympathy for his character because like I know he was a coward and I know he didn't rise to the occasion, but also people make mistakes.
And he has a point, like, we don't have any economic prospects.
Yeah.
You do have to have money to be married.
Yeah, but also now there's nothing that can be done about it. So I
Right.
understand her point too.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I understand that you want closure, but also we're under my marital home with my husband. We can't just be washing my dirty linen in public. So
Yeah.
it's very stressful. There's all these
Ugh.
things they want to say, I want to hear them say, but it's weird and awkward because there's three people
Yeah.
in this setting and there's no way to say what you really want to say, and it just made me really sad. And then the next day they're gonna go on this like picnic because then the husband's gonna drop off Samitra closer to where he
Hmm.
needs to be. So he says, we'll have like a nice lunch, like a little picnic lunch. And Madhvi looks so charming. She's wearing this beautiful, like striped sari. It looks like tussar silk. And she puts like a little scarf around her head because they sit in the Jeep and they go off like near this very beautiful scenic spot with what look like waterfalls to me. And they have like a little, like he's having a little smoke with the husband and they're just chit chatting. And he still tries, the husband, oh my God, after he's eaten, he just kind of splays out on the rock and he's so like inelegant. He's very gauche. He's
Yeah.
like a bad person. He's just very gauche.
That's the boss from Mahanagar, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pardon
In
Banerjee. He's great. He's
Yeah, like
great.
he and also like his character is, he's not a bad person. He's really
Nope.
not a bad person. It's just as the
Mismatch.
audience, you want so desperately for
I
these
know.
two
I
individuals to be
know.
together. And so it's just you end up villainizing him, even though he's not the villain and you have no business villainizing him. You're just
Yeah.
villainizing him because you love Samitra. And I am
Yeah.
speaking of myself. And then
And
they
me.
just kind of yeah, and they just kind of have to part ways. And it's just like it's sad, but it's also like C'est la vie. And this movie reminded me a little bit of two movies that I really love, even though it's not the exact same thing, but it's this concept of a lost love
Hmm.
and maybe mistakes we've made and the one that got away. It's that
Hmm.
idea. So one of the movies is the Rituparna Ghosh movie Raincoat, which I've talked
Hmm.
about in an episode once, which I really, really love. It which has Aishwarya Rai and Ajay Devgan. That also is like a small piece where it's just the two of them in
Hmm.
like this dingy, grimy, awful flat in Calcutta during the rains. And then the other movie is actually the Hollywood movie La La Land, which I love.
Ah.
The musical with Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling.
Hmm.
Very different milieu, very different concept. But again, the same idea of sometimes the person you love gets away. What are you going to do about it? You're left with a lot of regret and sadness. And it's like, it's bittersweet. Um, but I think people who love Raincoat, people who love La La Land will also really enjoy Kapurush. And she's just magnificent in this movie. Just her kind of like, she's holding a grudge.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't blame her for it.
Nope.
But no one holds a grudge like Madhabi Mukherjee does. She's one of those people, like when people say, I'm not angry, I'm disappointed. She's
Mm.
that person. Like she's not angry. She's not going to take a brick and throw it at your head, but she pissed. And she's going to show it by being so icy and mean to you. And I'm like, don't be mean to me. I love you.
One of the things that struck me when I watched this film, I think I have only seen it the one time, is in a time where it was I would think easier to, if not forget people from your past, not be reminded of them because no
Mm.
social media.
You could vanish.
You could vanish. You don't have to choose to unfriend them or unfollow them or whatever. They just wouldn't pop up very much. And
Yeah.
especially if you marry a tea planter and you go off to,
In the middle of nowhere.
you're not in Calcutta anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and so I wonder, is she still thinking about him every day? And the fact that he happened to show up is just kind of the strike of a flame under a fire that was about to go at any point? Or did all of this come rushing back for her and she hadn't thought about it
Mm.
in a while? And I don't know that I have an
Yeah.
answer to that, but I also just I love this depiction of the effects of cowardice, like
Yes.
interpersonal relationship effects of cowardice. And I'm not talking about like you were afraid to blow the whistle and so the factory burned down with all the workers in it or something like that. But this, like, what it can mean to another person if you don't show some courage.
Hmm.
And I feel like I have experienced this many times, and I'm not always the victim here. I think I've been the one who's been a coward as well. But I find this incredibly cathartic, this film, because I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
feel like we hold cowards accountable enough. Because it would mean that you'd have to seek them out and go tell them, right? And like, cut
Hmm.
your losses, move on, don't dredge it up, whatever. Those are all valid things as well. And like, can't change the past. You can't.
Yeah.
So what is to be gained by giving this person a piece of your mind? Not much. And
Right.
I think closure is not necessarily a thing that can happen, right? So
Yeah.
you feel for them both.
It also reminded me a little bit of, like, just a tiny bit of Kabhi Kabhi, because remember when we were talking about like Rakhi and Amitabh and not getting together, and I was like, I don't
Mm,
understand what Rakhi's deal is in this film. Like, is she just a coward who just can't even be bothered to mention
right.
anything to her family, or was this honestly just a fling for her and she really didn't care that much? Because
Yeah.
even in Kapurush, when she's in his like hostel flat or whatever it's supposed to be, she does at one point say to him, and she looks luminous in that scene, like the close up is on her and she just looks gorgeous, and she literally says, we can be together against everyone, like we, like she's saying we can stand against
Yeah.
everyone, so she's definitely implying that there would be
Yeah. She's really giving it
pushback.
her all too, right? Like
She really
she's
is.
it's not exactly a big dramatic speech, but there are
Mm-mm.
dramatic things being expressed in it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like you also have to calibrate it to that character, right?
Yeah.
Like Madhavi is never going to be that person that gets on a soapbox and just gives you like this fiery, impassioned, like union leader
Mm,
kind of speech, right? Like that's the most that she's going to do emotional temperature wise, but she's really doing everything she can. She's appealing to him emotionally, she's appealing to him on a practical level, she's appealing to him on a financial level, like you can get a job, I can get a job.
mm,
She's literally covering every single base she could, and he still won't rise to the occasion. He's just so crippled by self-doubt, and I was just kind of like, what the heck, like she's doing everything, you're not even willing to meet her halfway. And you're right, I mean, I don't think that popular culture talks about cowards much. I mean, I feel like movies are made from the hero's perspective, and the hero is
right.
always the hero.
Yeah.
Even the anti-hero, like the antagonist that Amitabh Bachchan used to play, even those are courageous.
Hmm.
But we just don't make, I think it's also possibly because like actors don't want to be perceived as cowards, right? Because it is
Mm,
demasculating
hmm.
and they don't want that. But it's just, it's such a good performance. And even if Samitra in this movie is so cowardly, I still love him.
Oh
And I
yeah.
was just like, it's just sad. It's just so sad. And especially to see this very like intelligent, gracious, elegant, just wonderful woman being married to this guy who really is not bad by any means, but
Mm-mm.
he's just a mismatch. And I just don't know how they're ever gonna like emotionally fulfill each other. I don't think they ever will. And it just feels
Mm,
like such a loss. But really
mm,
good movie. Um,
mm.
definitely made up for Biraj Bou.
Good. Good. All right, so now let me tell you about Dibratrirkabya. So the thing that I found in common here was that she plays. So the film is told mostly from the perspective of this guy, and it opens with him saying, basically, "My wife has killed herself, and I don't know why." Um, and then we
Okay.
see that he used to be in a relationship with Madhabi, but she has married someone else, and so has he. So this is where and then he shows up to stay at her house.
Okay.
And I wasn't entirely clear why, if he was, and her husband is a police officer, so I don't think it's business. I think he's like saying that they're distant cousins and he's just visiting or something. It's very strange. So again, subtitle lack, or maybe I just didn't comprehend something. So again, we have, this former love interest being a guest at her house. And I was like, what a weird thing to have happen in multiple
Yeah.
movies that you're in, and they're not even 10 years apart. This is from 1970s. It's only 5 years later. Like, you sir are no Kapurush. This is
Right.
not as good. So then we just kind of see them interacting a little bit. We see the husband dealing with a murder case where a man has caught his wife in bed with another man and has killed her,
Mm,
very violently killed her, apparently. And I think we're supposed to think that this narrator, or the POV guy, is like, well, at least he didn't kill his wife. But then I don't know. I don't know what this movie is about. And the summary on IMDb, I think, is not exactly accurate. And it says that she not only ruins her life, but everybody else's around her.
mm,
I don't think that's true. But maybe they're, I don't know. I don't know. So this, I think, is kind of a contemplative thing that's expressing maybe sort of philosophical outlooks and things like that.
mm,
But I wasn't getting that. Or if it was, I wasn't able to piece them together. Um, Anjana Bhowmik is another of these great vintage Bengali actresses, and she's in it as well as someone that this POV character, while he's on this trip, meets and kind of falls for. Um, and they have a really interesting flirty scene where they're visiting a temple and they're like looking at all the carvings on the outside of
mm,
the temple. And the film goes back and forth between showing images of women figurines on the temple who, are not wearing tops for the most
mm.
part. And it's not Kajara or anything, but it's,
Right.
they're clearly implying like a connection between the woman's form and everything like that.
Mm.
And then they're, like one of them holds their hand out to the other to like help climb up. And then you see them walking with bare feet, and then they stand together. You just see their feet, and then he puts one foot on top of hers, and you're like, oh, at a
Oh,
temple. Oh.
right.
So there's flirtation there, and then she does a big dance, and then but they don't get together either. So like it's all, I don't know. I don't know. I kind of wonder if it's about the futility of connections in the world, or like the inability to make connections become permanent or something like that. So I'm not really sure what this movie is about. And therefore, I cannot say that I think it makes sense that she got a national award for this, because I'm not even sure what
Mm.
she's supposed to be expressing.
So
If you
what does
have
she do in this movie?
It's a
Like
lot
she's
of
married
dialogue.
unhappily?
I don't even think she's unhappy in her marriage. Now, again, maybe
Okay.
I missed it. I just think that this guy, his arrival stirs up a bunch of things.
And
So
who's the actor who arrives?
The
Like, is it
actor who
anyone famous?
arrives is who is that? Um, I think it's Basanta Chowdhury, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
Um, I didn't recognize him as much. I mean, he looked vaguely familiar, but I'm not completely
Okay.
sure. So I don't know. If anyone listening has seen this film, please tell me. I had not even heard of it, despite loving Madhabi Mukherjee. And
Is it
with
just very like surreal or like experimental kind of?
Not visually particularly, but
Okay.
yeah, there's something kind of different and all going on in this, I think. Maybe
Okay.
it's kind of more contemplative or something, not
Hmm.
contemplative in a calm way, but just in a like, this is a series of conversations.
Vignettes
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
Um, and but I am kind of confused enough that I almost want to watch it again sometime to see if I can get
Yeah.
something else out of it. And again, especially for her. And I don't think she's bad in this at all, but and they do give her a lot to do. And the camera is spending a lot of time like on
Hmm.
her face,
Mm.
rightly so, an amazingly
Yes.
expressive face.
Yeah.
In this film, I think she's playing very similar to what she's playing in Kapurush, like someone who has she's probably not as well off as that woman, but
Mm.
they're not in the city. They're out in the, somewhere smaller where he's kind of the main police officer. Not the only one, but at a small
Oh,
station.
like he's probably like stationed there, kind
Yeah,
of.
something like that, I think. So you see her kind of doing some household chores and things like that,
Hmm.
but she just seems like more of an every woman. Um, And
Mm,
I like watching her do that. And there's some scenes where she is, happy with something and you see her burst into a big smile and that's really
mm.
lovely. And you see her crying at one point in the film is like the camera's like right up on her, probably glycerin tears. I don't know. But like she's, so it's fun to spend time visually with this film, but
Yeah.
I don't understand what was going on.
Okay. So it sounds like if people want to watch a movie about like the one that got away or like relationships and stuff, watch Kapurush.
Yeah. Yeah. If you have an option between another film and a Ray film,
Oh,
watch the Ray
always.
film.
Right.
You don't need us to tell you that, but if you've heard that, and so I have to say, I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast. When I started watching Indian films, I resisted Ray for a long time because I was like, ugh, eye roll, right? Like
Right.
everybody, blah, 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 blah. And
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I'd seen any Bengali films for my first chunk of years. Um, and then I finally started to watch some and I was like, oh,
But Ray is
everyone is
like,
correct.
yeah, Ray. I mean, I don't even remember when I watched my first Ray film. It was probably when I was a teenager because, like I've said before in the podcast, Doordarshan, DD Metro used to show these afternoon movies where they were like 2 to 4 or something. And they would always show these like NFDC films, which is when I
Mhm.
saw all the art films,
Yeah.
or they would show like Ray or something. The objective was to show you these like really awesome movies that you probably
They're
were not
good
going
for
to
you.
seek out. Yeah, that they were actually good for you. And because I'm not a napper, I'm not a person who
Mm.
has ever been like pro siesta, which I know is like I'm a traitor to my people. But like my grandma, my mom, my grandpa, everyone would take like their siesta, right? And I would have nothing to do. And I would be like, this is boring. I can't make any noise either because people get mad at me. So I would just be in the living room watching one of these afternoon movies with my cat, just like on a low volume. And that's when I got hooked on all of these. And I think that's when I first
Mm.
encountered Ray. And I think my first Ray film that I saw was actually Aranyati in Ratri, which is not entry point Ray. I feel like entry point
Oh,
Ray is
interesting.
Charulata, Mahanagar, and I, because those are kind of like his most famous ones. I feel like
I
Aranyat Din
really
Ratri
like that
doesn't
one
get
though.
spoken about. I know, but I don't think it gets talked about as much,
I mean, if you think
right?
Sumitra Chatterjee is good looking, that's the
I
film.
know. Yes, for
That's the
sure.
film. It's one of
But
the
yeah,
films. Ask me how I know.
I know, right? Yeah. No,
uh,
he's a beauty. And also Kudito
mm,
Pashan, he's very nice in that also.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Charulata because it's
Oh,
like,
yes.
is it my favorite Ray film? Depends on the day you ask me, but it is, you
Oh,
know,
I feel like it would 100% be your favorite Ray film. Are you
probably
suggesting?
it just depends on the day, right? But it depends on
Okay.
what mood I'm in, but it's top three for sure.
Yeah.
I've seen this movie, I don't know, five, six times. Um, I have tried several times to write about this film somewhere, and I can't do it. It
Yeah.
renders me
Speechless.
not speechless, but certainly inarticulate in a very unenjoyable way. So I apologize
Yeah.
sort of for what's going to come out of my mouth, but know that it is meant with extreme earnestness and respect and affection. Um, why don't you do the plot summary since I can't be trusted?
I mean, I would say at its core, Charlotte is about ennui, boredom, being a bird in a gilded cage,
Mhm.
having everything you could possibly want, and yet being emotionally unsatisfied and hollow. And while there's a lot of things happening in this movie, I mean, it's not a very frenetic movie, but there's things happening in this
There
movie.
are things
Really,
happening, yeah.
but really at its core, it's about that dissatisfaction. I just feel like Charlotte is about not really having like a purpose in your life, and then someone comes and sheds light on your heart and your
Hmm.
life, and
Hmm.
then suddenly it just changes you forever. It's equal parts beautiful but also tragic,
Oh,
and
it's so
it's
sad.
one of those movies I cannot watch because it just makes me sad.
It's so sad.
It's so
And
sad.
it is, based on a Tagore story, which is,
Yes.
considered is more or less based on his own experience of his older brother's very much younger wife, who's
Yeah.
close to his age. There are multiple
Hmm.
treatments of that story out there. So there's one starring Konkana Sen Sharma
Oh,
as this character, as the Charulata type
okay.
character with um Parmbrata Chatterjee as Tabor, so
Mm,
that's a good thing.
okay.
This is better because this is better than
Oh,
basically everything.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, so she plays the in the film gets translated into English as the lonely wife often.
Yes.
Um, and she's married to this newspaper editor who has more money than they apparently really know what to do with, although he's doing his best to invest it all in this radical political newspaper. But they live in a
Hmm.
big mansion with a big courtyard in the middle, and
Beautiful.
um, you know,
And the grand piano and
the grand
everything.
piano, and she spends her time, kind of embroidering and looking out the window with her opera glasses. And
Mhm.
did I choose that as the thumbnail for this podcast? Of course I did, because
I knew you would.
I'm gonna
You
do.
have to.
It is so iconic. I had to do it, and the
Is it iconic, Beth?
and
I'll
the
show myself out.
expressions she makes, even when you can only see half her face because she's got the opera glasses down, below her nose. And then in during a tufan, in comes her husband's cousin, the young Sumitra Chatterjee, who is a newly finished university student
So
who
beautiful.
so beautiful, full powers, like
Yeah.
I suspect
Full
they're
powers
supposed to
for
be
sure.
about the same age. Maybe she's a
Yeah.
teeny bit older or younger, but I don't know. Then, they're basically the same age. And the her husband asks him to like help her with her writing.
Hmm.
Um, because her husband can at first the husband just makes me crazy because he walks by her in the hallway when she's so bored and she's so lonely and he doesn't even notice her. And then here's someone, but then
She's
her
like a
husband,
piece of furniture.
yeah, but then the husband's like, "Oh, will you spend some time with Charu and like,
Entertain her.
entertain
Yeah.
her and help her with her writing?" But lo and behold, she does not need help with her writing because she, in a kind of in a fit, decides to write a story and it gets published by a magazine and it does better than the story that Amal, her cousin-in-law, publishes. And there's just all these amazing, small, intimate moments between them. And you can so my interpretation, and again I'm sure many people's, is she's about to fall for him hard, and
Oh,
he
for sure.
and he realizes it and he leaves in the middle of the night basically
Yeah.
and leaves them a note.
He was like,
and
I don't want
then
trouble.
and then she bursts into tears and is saying out loud like, Amal, why did you go without saying goodbye? And her husband overhears it.
Yeah. Messy.
And in the
Very messy.
meantime, there's been drama with the husband's brother, who has been hired as the manager for the newspaper, but has been embezzling.
Hmm.
And so the newspaper is basically kaput, and
Hmm.
his knowing that his marriage is in trouble here, then they go off to the seaside, and the husband has this idea that they should do a new kind of magazine together, and she can also write for it and help with the content and everything. He'll do the political stuff and she can do other things.
Hmm.
And they get home, and that's when some of this happens, and then you kind of see them, the film ends with them about they've reached out their hands to each other and you don't know what's going to happen, and then freeze. uh
Yeah.
oh, this I mean, this movie is everything. And this time I
Yeah.
was noticing how much conversation there is about politics in it,
Mm.
which has never hooked me before. And it's an amazing testament about this film is that I can love it so much and not even remember one of the major subplots because I'm so taken with the emotional stuff.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've ever focused particularly on the political stuff. I'm like, yeah, 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 whatever. I don't care.
Freedom,
I
blah,
just
blah,
want
blah.
the eyes. I want that.
Oh, those two. And like, when I mean, is your favorite part when they go outside to the lawn? Because that's my favorite part.
My favorite part is the song, like Ami chini go
Amici
chini tumare. I
Nicochini. Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
And then when he says Ami thako shindu pare ovi doishini, I'm
Oh,
just like,
I know. And he's like singing to his little
it's
snack and
beautiful.
everything. And she's
Yeah.
kind of pouting. And then, he won't take the pawn and then he will take the pawn. And it's so, and the accessories in this movie,
The
like
fashions.
the fashions, the pawn boxes, the fountain pens, the windows, the things on the shelves, the paintings, the wallpaper, the piano, like
Beautiful.
everything is the handwriting,
Yeah.
like everything is so beautiful. Let's talk about the fashions for a little bit because I am very taken by them.
I love her saris. I love all her jamdanis that she's worn. I
Mm.
love her blouses with the
The
lace.
Victorian puff
So
sleeves.
cute.
I
I
love it
love
too.
them. I love her jewelry. I love the hair accessories she
Oh,
wears, like in her bun,
those
the
little pins with the
silver. Yeah.
danglies.
So
Oh,
beautiful with like the little chum chums on them. So
yeah.
gorgeous. I love her eye makeup. I mean, Madhabi Mukherjee is one of those actresses that is so gorgeous that you
Mm-hmm.
really don't want to overdo the makeup with her.
Mm-mm.
You just want to keep it nice and clean, just accentuate her eyes, call it a day, give her a big bindi, you're done. And she just looks spectacular in this movie. I love her little chains that she wears tucked into her saris, and then the eyeglasses and everything. It's just very rarefied, it just screams wealth. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're wealthy. That is not the wardrobe of a middle class person.
No.
That is the wardrobe of a very rich person. But it's also like a little bit sad to me because, like, to me, the way she's treated in that marriage, and she's not treated poorly, but like, to me, she's almost treated like, oh, like, there's the chandelier, there's the grand piano, there's Charu, like less as a person and more as an accessory.
Yeah. Or maybe
um
like a little, like almost like a pet,
yeah,
like, oh, will you help her with her writing? She doesn't need your
yeah,
help, man.
yeah, like, just chaperone her.
Yeah.
Like, it's a little, like, it's not little, it's quite patronizing.
Mm-hmm.
She's just, she really is an accessory to
Mm-hmm.
this man and his lifestyle in this movie. And I think the first time she's actually seen for who she is, like as a human being, as an individual, I think that's part of why she falls so hard for Samitra's character, right? It's not just the fact that he's so beautiful, or the who could falter for that, but it's also the fact that this is a person who sees her as an actual human being instead of just a status thing.
Being seen.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Mhm. And
Oh.
to me, it's like, I wouldn't even necessarily categorize this as a love story. I know that is the most captivating part of the movie to me,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more about a woman wanting to be seen and to be heard and to be understood instead
Yeah.
of just like existing, which funnily is also a theme that we saw in Duvida and Paheli, right? It's the
Yeah, yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's like the woman in Paheli would, Lachi would rather have a ghost who sees her and appreciates her and recognizes her and has an actual connection with her than her actual living husband who
Yeah.
cares about nothing except accounts.
Yeah.
And so, how much of her love for Samitra is because he's a breath of fresh air? How much of it is because he is so different from her husband? How much of it is just because it's a novelty? And how much of it is because there truly is like a romantic connection between them? I don't know. Maybe it's all of those things.
Yeah. I was thinking on this watch, like how, let's say she and her husband move forward with this new, they move
Mm,
forward in general, but specifically with this new magazine, I think it is that
yeah,
they're going to do.
collaborators.
Um, would this project give her the opportunity to be seen, to
I
be
think so.
understood? And when I think it does, that makes me a little more optimistic. So her husband may not remember to see her, but she'll have an audience, which is not exactly the same thing, but regular readers who might write to the editor, right, will praise her writing. And I think, that will mean something to her. Is she going to be allowed to go and speak to the public? I don't think so.
I,
Right. She's a rich man's wife in 1870s Calcutta. I don't think she's getting
yeah,
out of the house very much at all. But although she does get to go to the seaside and sit by the
right,
sea, so like on the sand, even not in a chair or whatever. So,
right.
um, I, yeah. So this time I ended with a little more optimism than I sometimes do.
Yeah, she'll at least have a voice. I mean, one of the scenes for me in Charulata that also has made me wonder. I mean, they are a childless couple, and there's
Right.
that scene where she's watching with
Yeah.
the things, and you know how she's almost like snooping
Hmm.
on people, and when she sees the lady with like the baby and everything, and I
Hmm.
always wonder, like, why are they childless? This was not an era
Yeah. We
when
don't
birth
know.
control was being practiced. So is there
No.
like I have questions about that, but I also wonder, like, would she perhaps have been happy if she did have a child, because then maybe that would have taken up some of her energies.
That moment gets written about a lot with this film in my to my recollection of what I've read, and I think it's interesting that that's singled out among the things that she sees out the window, because she
Mm,
also sees the guy with the pet monkey, and or like
yeah,
the kind of street entertainer guy with the
yeah,
monkey, and she sees
it's like a pup.
a portly man with an umbrella, and she actually follows him across multiple windows. So
Yeah,
like, why do we latch onto the mother and baby? And
I don't know, because I think for
she's the
that
only other
time,
woman she sees, I think.
yeah,
I think that's part of it.
Also, for that era, you do have to wonder
It,
why they don't
right.
have
I'm
children.
sure it would be expected. Well, and like Choti Bahu, right?
Yeah,
She doesn't,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's, I mean, and this does have some parallels to Sahib Bibi or Ghulam
yeah.
Choti Bahu as well, where again, it's like you're not being seen.
Mm-mm.
You're just, I don't know what these women do.
I
What
know.
do they do?
Well,
You're
that,
just in this
when
gilded cage all day. It sounds
her
terrible.
husband's brother and his wife come, and the wife is played by Geetali Roy, who's another amazing actress. She's so good at this. I think she would get more praise if she wasn't up against, Sumitra
Right.
and Madhabi. But, she wants to play this card game where it's just you just turn cards over. And Madhabi even says, Charu says, like, this game is just luck. And she's like, no, no, it takes perseverance or whatever. And it's just the most nothing game. It's kind
It's
of
very
like
vapid.
war is what we used to play when I was little. That was like
Right.
turn cards over kind of thing. This isn't anything that involves gambling or taking tricks or strategizing or anything. It's just nothing but the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
And she's supposed to be, I think, a much simpler woman, but
Hmm.
at the same time, Amal, Sumitra Chatterjee's character, like builds a nice little relationship with her too. I think like they kind of have
Yeah.
funny exchanges and stuff. Um, so it's not like he only pays attention to Charo. He doesn't. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and they don't have children either, I don't
No.
think.
I also find Amal's character interesting because it's kind of like, to me, this is almost like a subgenre of movies, like during Victorian eras or during this era in Indian cinema, whatever, where you have these like rich women who basically have no job, no life, no purpose. They just basically have a lot of wealth and they're just at home all day.
Hmm.
And there's all this ennui. And any interesting, exciting person that enters the threshold, like crosses the threshold, is going to be very, very intriguing. And I wonder how many women fall in love with these men because they just represent something unique and new and novel,
I mean,
you
how could you
know?
not? Yeah.
Yeah. Which then brings me to a follow up question, which is to what extent is that, in fact, love and how much of that is just novelty? Now, I'm not
Hard to
suggesting that
say.
in this movie, it's like, I do think that she has a very strong emotional connection with him. And I do think she loves him. And he has that with her too, which is why I think he does the noble thing where he leaves before there can be any trouble, which honestly is the smartest thing to do in this
Absolutely.
situation.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
I do not fault him for that.
No.
I know it's going to crush her, but no good is going to come of this,
No.
right?
No.
Um, but yeah, it seems like a recipe for trouble. Bored, rich, lonely housewife, interesting young man.
Hmm.
No good can come of
Who
this.
sees her? Yeah,
Yeah, who sees her. But he also sees other women. So
he does.
he's not even seeing her exclusively. But it's so sad. I just wish, like, sometimes when I see movies like this, whether it's Sahib Bibi Ghulam or whether it's Charulata, whatever, I wish, like, if those women had the opportunities that we do, if they lived in this
I
era,
know. I
what
know.
would they have accomplished, right?
Right.
Like, maybe she would have gotten an MFA in creative writing. Maybe she would have been a journalist. Maybe she would have been an author. Maybe she'd never have got married, or maybe she would have gotten married and had 4 kids. I don't know. But it's like
And at least she
when
could
you
have
have this
tried
set
something.
path,
She
right?
has nothing to do.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's
Compared
kind of like
to,
Sonakshi and Lutera as
yeah,
well.
yeah. She,
Yeah.
these Bengali women who are stuck in stuck
Well,
with
at least
nothing
in
to
Bulbul,
do.
she's an avenging angel. So there's that.
That's true.
But bad things have happened to her. So
That's
that there's
true.
not that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a work of pure genius for sure.
It is.
This movie.
Unlike you, I would not watch Charulata 5 or 6 times just because it makes me sad.
Yeah.
And it's not even so much that I feel sad for Charu. I do, but the movie does. And I will give props to Satyajit Ray for the fact that he knows how to dash your hopes and make you really sad.
Oh
But then at
yeah.
the end, he does try to give you a little bit of like some positivity, like at the
Maybe.
Apu trilogy at the end with the
Yeah.
he's like, well, it's not so bad. Now that you've stopped crying, here you go. Here's a little something for you. But when I watch movies like Charlotte, it just makes me sad because I think of all those generations of women
I
who could have
know.
achieved who knows what and were never allowed to.
Yeah.
And then it makes me feel like it's that much more important for today's generations to watch those films so that they don't go down these stupid TikTok trad wife thingies. Don't be a trad wife, you guys. Watch these movies. Understand the
Oh.
pitfalls.
I I think it's worth noting here that two things. One, that the Tagore story that this is based on is called The Broken Nest. So,
Yeah,
I think that that's a much more
that's very
dramatic
pointed, isn't it?
title. Yeah. Yeah, and I guess I've never read this story. I would be interested to know if it ends at the same point because this movie definitely stops. It does not end. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's just we're just going to
yeah.
stop it right here, and who
Leave
knows?
you to your devices.
That's
Yeah.
right. I would be interested to know if the story is the same. And then the other thing I wanted to say about this is that this did win a National Film Award for Best Feature Film,
Mm.
which I think makes sense. But even um, it, she did get a Bengali Film Journalists Association award for this, which is that I don't know what that organization is exactly, but they pop up all the time when you're reading about
Yeah.
vintage Bengali films. So they seem to be the major award givers for Bengali
Hmm.
cinema, which makes sense. She did get Best Actress, and the guy who plays her husband got Best Actor,
Hmm.
Shailen Mukherjee. I was like, did you see Sumitra
I
Chatterjee
know.
doing everything right? Like he is also extremely good, and he doesn't even seem to have been nominated, which is
That's weird.
or maybe that's just not listed here. But anyway, this is this is if you've not seen this movie, please watch it. There's a pretty nice version on YouTube. It's actually the Criterion version, not on the Criterion channel, so it's not the world's best, but it's pretty good with
Hmm.
quite good English subtitles, and you can enjoy the translation for the different snacks, particularly the what is it, Singara, that
Oh,
he's
yeah.
eating. So not a samosa, but another he says triangular tidbit.
Nice.
And I've seen I how samosa gets translated is one of my favorite things to look for in a Hindi film. And obviously it's not quite a samosa, but similar. So it's I think in another version of this particular film, I've seen it as like pyramid puff. I'm like,
Oh,
not
okay.
wrong, I guess. Like I suppose
I went to a
triangular tidbit is great.
bougie restaurant like a few years ago in San Francisco. It was an Indian place, but it was like very bougie and kind of like fusiony. And I typically don't enjoy those places. And one of the tips should have been that all the waiters were like non-Indian, and most of the people eating there were also non-Indian. And I was like,
Mm.
but it had good reviews, so I went there and I wanted dosa, and that was on the menu. But except it didn't say dosa; it said spiced lentil pancake. And
Uh,
I was like, what's a spiced lentil pancake? But it was a dosa. And I was like, oh boy. And then I think they referred to sambar in some strange way. And the waiter, who was white, brought me like the sambar and the chutney and the everything. And he was explaining them as dips. And I was like, I got it. Thank you. I got it. You don't have to. You don't. It was like, this is a dip with like coconut. And I'm like,
uh,
it's okay. I know. Thank you.
oh dear. Oh dear.
Do you feel like I feel like Madhabi, even if she had only just done those Ray movies, I feel like her career would already be like blessed by the cinema
I
gods.
agree. I
Um,
agree.
I mean, you just don't like just collaborate with Ray, do all those films, and you don't really
And
need
to
to do
do
anything
three
else.
Ray
But
films, boom, 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 within like 3 years. So they're three within, 3 years, 2.5 years,
yeah,
whatever. It's just astounding.
yeah.
Um, and the fact that, so while I do love her with Sumitra Chatterjee,
Mm.
she's equally amazing in Mahanagar without
Yes.
him or without any particularly romantic tracks. It's not just that. So like
Hmm.
I do think it's important to note how well she stands on her own.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, she's so good. She's
She's
so
so
good.
amazing. Yeah.
Um, I have seen a few others of her films. None that I'm going to particularly recommend. Although I have seen,
Okay.
there's another one that she does with Sumitra where it's, ye olden days and palaces and
Mm.
stuff, which is a little better than the one the one I reported on for this with the Biswajit.
Mm.
Um, but I think you could watch almost anything for her and not be
Yeah.
disappointed. I don't know if I'd said this, but I don't think she's bad in that film that I watched. I was like, this is not for her. This is for someone. This is for Sharmila or Vijayantimala or
Yeah.
somebody more masala-y, frankly.
Yeah. I think so too. I mean, I feel like she's just there's this very like this is a weird word to use, but there's like this almost like noble
Mm,
vibe to her. and there's this gravitas to her where I can't imagine her doing any kind of like tomfoolery.
Yeah.
I was kind of curious to, I mean, I ran out of time because I had the flu, but I had actually Googled like Madhabi Mukherjee comedies because I was very
Ah,
curious to see how she would be in a comedy.
there must be
Um,
some.
there are like one or two.
Mm.
I just didn't get around to watching those, but and I could be like I just feel like I don't think she would be good in a comedy. But I could be completely wrong and maybe she's awesome. I just don't think of her as someone who's particularly funny. I think of her as someone who's like serious,
I also
you
have
know.
not seen much of her work past about 1975. So
Right.
she, her as a middle-aged or older woman, I have not seen basically I've seen her an interview with her and that's about it. So
Mm.
I believe she's actually still acting, which is great.
Yeah. I think she did a movie as early as like 2023 or something.
Mm.
There's a movie of hers I do want to watch by Ritvik Kathak, and that is Meghe Dakitara. It does sound dire.
She's not in that, is she? I thought she's in Calcutta 71.
No, I think she's in Meghe Dakitara. I think she plays a prostitute in it. And so that's part of the reason why I want to watch it because I can't imagine her as a prostitute at all. And then I think in the end she commits suicide. So
Mm.
it sounds very dire, but I want to watch it just because I'm curious.
She's not in that.
She's not in it?
No,
Okay,
that's
then
Supriya Chowdhury. She's in Calcutta 71, which is one of the three.
the
Um,
trilogy on the
yeah,
Bengal partition.
yeah.
Okay, but then I
Sorry, no, Calcutta 71's not one of those, but there's Mega Dakatara and Komal Gandhar. Oh, it's Subhana Rekha that you're thinking of, I
ah
think.
right. It's
Yeah.
Savarna Rekha
I would
that
like to see
she
that too.
I'm just curious because it's hard for me to imagine her playing. There's
Mm,
something about Madhabi Mukherjee. I always think of her as like middle class. I feel like she does
mm,
middle class and she does like bourgeois well. Like she's middle class in Mahanagar and that's great. And then she's like bourgeois in Charulata and that's great. And then I can't really think of her as like rich, rich. I don't know
mm,
why. And that's why I can't think of her as a princess either. But I also can't think of her as like a prostitute. I
mm,
don't know. I feel
mm,
like I love her. I think she's incredibly talented, but I it's hard for me. I don't think of her as someone who is very much of a chameleon and who can do like all the things. I think she has certain lanes that she's very good at.
mm.
Having said that, I am not a Madhabi Mukherjee expert and I've only really seen like five movies of her. And so maybe I'm completely wrong. And maybe she is actually the most versatile person. I wouldn't know until I watch more. But yeah, I want to watch Suvarna Rekha.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's ice cream time.
I don't know. I don't know. Um, I feel like so I'm again heavily under the influence of Charulata, and because pan is a significant thing there, can we do like a pan ice cream? But
That's what I was gonna say.
I think we've done that for someone else already
But
anyway.
that's
So
okay. But yes, I was gonna say pan ice cream because even in Biraj Bou, she's constantly eating pan and she's
there we go.
constantly offering pan, and also I love pan. And so yes, so she's pan ice cream, for sure. And then you also follow it up with some extra pan just for funsies.
Her just for funsies.
Yeah, I love pan.
I
So
noticed that she starts acting when she's 10. So she's
wow,
another of these children who transitions, but I couldn't find
because her
any of
mom was an
those.
actress too.
I could
So
not
her
find any
mom
of
was
those
like a
earlier films.
thespian actress, and Madhavi Mukherjee
Ah,
got started
oh
in
yes.
theater pretty young. And apparently she's also married. I mean, she's separated, but she was
Yeah.
also married to an actor called
Mm-hmm.
Nirmal Kumar or something. I've never heard of him.
No,
Um, it could I don't know anything about her personal life. Maybe he
no.
was like, but he doesn't seem particularly like famous or anything. So
I'm telling you, the vintage Bengali film star gossip is extremely hard to find, at least in English. If it's out
you
there,
need your friend, your Kati roll friend to get you some of that gossip.
I know I need her to ask her parents.
Yeah, basically.
When Amrita and I first started from Kandan and I first started getting into Bengali films around like 2012 or so, we were all like, who do we know with parents or grandparents who can tell us things? We need to know things.
I have a Bengali friend over here, Shimin. I always go to like his family's Durga Puja and Kali Puja. I don't think he's a movie buff though, but his parents live here. So maybe I'll
Okay,
just ask like auntie and uncle and I'll be
because
like, tell us more. Because Shimin ain't gonna tell me nothing.
again, my sample is limited, and obviously people are talking to me about these things because I scream about how much I love these films. Like,
Yeah.
I've never met anyone. No, it's not true. I've heard of one person, one Bengali person who doesn't like Uttam Kumar. So
Wow.
I'm sure they're out there, but like
Have you ever
beloved,
met someone who
right?
doesn't like Soumitra? Because you can't be friends
No, I
with that
have not
person.
ever.
Well,
I
there
have
you
not
go.
ever, right?
That should be like your litmus test. Like before you befriend someone, you have to be like, okay, Soumitra, what are our thoughts? And if they say, I don't like him, you're like, bye.
It's one of those like I can see not liking him if you've only seen his like last 10 years worth of movies because he's
Oh,
done some real direct. He
like
really
if
has.
they've seen the Bengali Night with Supriya Pathak and Hugh Grant,
Right. Right. But
and
even
they're like, that guy?
was it Shivas Regal that was doing sponsoring short films? It was one of these alcohol companies was sponsoring short films for a
Okay.
while, and he did one with Toto Roy Chowdhury and
Okay.
Radhika Apte, where it's just
Hmm.
like a 10-minute thing, and like he's amazing in that even. So like he still
Oh.
can turn in an amazing performance late in life. It's just yeah, I was thinking about well, it doesn't take much to nudge me to think about Sumitra Chatterjee, but
Yeah.
I have there was a biography of him that came out last year that I would very much like to read, and I have it and I haven't read it yet. Um,
Okay.
but he's he's just got so many interesting films, but some of them are terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you have a filmography as vast as his, I mean, that's always
I also
gonna
can
happen.
imagine that, and I'm sorry I'm saying this in a podcast that's about Madhabi Mukherjee, but like, okay, you are interested in hiring Ray's most frequent collaborator. Maybe you're scared to offer him a film, right? Maybe. But
I mean, it could be.
he was also doing mainstream stuff while he was doing Ray, who's also not like I know we kind of hold him up as like art film guy now in some ways, but like Ray's films are completely approachable. There
Mhm.
is nothing like incomprehensible about any of these films at all. There's just a lot going
Well,
on.
some of them, like Devi, I don't think of Devi as approachable at all. I mean, I
Oh,
like it,
really?
but oh yeah,
Oh,
I wouldn't recommend Devi to most people. I would
huh.
be scared because if Devi was someone's like entry point to Ray, I feel like they would never watch another film of his. So I would
Hmm.
not tell them to watch Devi.
Hmm.
I would start them off easy. I would start
It's
them
a
off with Nayak,
yeah, such a
right?
good
Like
film.
I would start
See,
them with Nayak and then
maybe
get
that's
them
my
hooked
favorite Ray
on it.
film. I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. It's so good.
What is my favorite Ray? Oh, Apu,
Yeah.
which I
So
cannot watch without
the Ray
crying.
films that we have talked about on this are Apna
Charulata,
Sansar, Charulata,
Mahanagar.
Mahanagar, and Nayak. Those are the four that we've touched
Oh,
on. Oh, and then you
I talked
watched
about Aranyet Din Ratri
that's
and Agantuk.
Aguntuk. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I think when did I talk about Aranyet Din Ratri? I don't know what podcast episode that was for, but I
Hmm.
talked about that one as well. And I also criticized the blackface in it for Simi.
Well, rightly so.
Yeah, but Agantuk was like the last one I spoke about in
Yeah.
our episode on like coming home for the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Maybe we should make our way through all of them at some point.
yeah,
That would be a fun part. I have seen them, they are available, but that was a while ago that
yeah.
I did that. So hopefully they're still out there. Anyway, if you have seen more Madhabi Mukherjee films than we have, please tell us others that we should watch
Hmm.
because she's great.
She's amazing. We wanna talk about her more. I'm really
Yeah.
glad we did this episode. It was really
Hmm.
fun.
Hmm.
Yeah. Tell us what you think about Madhabi Mukherjee. If you haven't seen her, I would recommend Charulata, Mahanagar, and Nayak. I think those three are her best like
She's not in
entry point
Nayak.
movies.
She's not in
Oh right,
Nayak.
Sharmila is a Nayak. Okay, never mind. Watch Charulata, Mahanagar,
Watch
and
Kapurush. Kapurush is great.
Kapurush. Watch Kapurush. And
Watch her
Kapurush
Ray
is so
films.
short. It's like a 1 hour movie. So watch Kapurush also.
I bet some of our
Um,
listeners have seen Subhana Rekha, so please tell
I'm
us
sure they have.
how much of a like how much do we need to brace ourselves to watch this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be dire. It's Gatak. So it's
Yeah,
not going to be that easy to watch, but
no.
we can do it. We can soldier on.
For
I watched
Madhabi
Biraj Bou, okay? So I can watch anything. I have a superpower.
and listeners, do you want more episodes that talk about Bengali films? Because that's something Pitu and I both like, and
Yeah.
I'm sure there are Bengali film podcasts out there, but I have not found one in English.
Yeah.
So if you want more of those, let us know. I can't be stopped anyway, but that doesn't mean I have to record about it. So,
Okay,
uh,
well, I think that concludes this episode of Filmy Ladies. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye.